Hi, and welcome to The Professionals. Today I'm going to share my travel tips for the youth and, of course, for everyone. I've traveled a lot in my life. Before the age of 18, I'd lived in 4 different countries, including being born outside of my home country. For my professional life, I traveled to 15 different countries within the space of 7 years. My travel peaked in 2015, 2016, where I jumped from a bronze to a silver member on a popular British carrier within the space of 3 months. So I'm going to share my tips with you based on my traveling experience as a millennial. Tip number 1, have a travel suitcase. This would normally be a trolley. The benefit of having a travel suitcase is that you always have your go-to bag for those short business trips. And in this bag, you can put your travel toiletries. This saves a lot of time looking around for the right bag to travel with on short trips, and also having to transfer your toiletries from the bathroom and packing them up to travel. So have a travel suitcase. Tip number 2, have a backpack. A backpack is very useful for overnight trips, and I found this extremely useful myself, where I had a trip whereby I had a customer presentation the next morning and I traveled the evening beforehand. So in this situation, I didn't need to take my travel suitcase because that's for 3-day, 4-day, 2-day, 5-day trips. So I just carried my handy little backpack. I put my things in, put my toiletries in, and I didn't need to carry any weight or anything around with me or check in anything. So have your compact little backpack for overnight trips. Very useful. Tip number 3, pack your passport as soon as you know that you're traveling. Put it in your handbag or in your jacket or in your trouser pockets, wherever you normally have it. This is in order to avoid nightmare stories of leaving your passport at home and having to go all the way back to get your passport, or in the worst case scenario, missing a flight. Tip number 4, drink lots of water. Drink water before your trip, during your trip, and as soon as you land. This will help in terms of general well-being, and it will also aid in terms of not being constipated, especially if you've had a long-haul flight. I know that it can be inconvenient having to go to the bathroom all the time. If you know you're going to have to do this, try to get an aisle seat, or, and I'm going to talk about this point later, try to sit as close to the toilets or front of the plane as you can. Tip number 5, snatch some fruit. Take fruit with you. Take an orange, take an apple, take whatever you feel is convenient. Of course, eat it before you land. In case of customs, I had an experience where I had to declare an apple, which I forgot in my bag. But eat fruit. If you're lucky enough to get to use the business lounge of your airline, put some fruit in your bag so that you have something with you for when you land and get to your hotel. I normally have fruit as the first thing, just to kind of get my stomach moving, and again, not to have any kind of constipation or bloating when I arrive. Tip number 6, try to see the sights. I know business travel can sometimes be boring, especially if you don't have friends or loved ones with you. If you have colleagues that are up for going out maybe one evening, try to explore the area where you're in, and don't find yourself locked up in a hotel room. So as much as you can, do take advantage of the fact that you're traveling. Tip number 7, be ready with your documents early. If you have to get a visa, try to read up on the country's embassy website. So even if your own company is helping you get a visa, just know in advance how long you'll need, and you know what. Let's say, I mean, if there are difficulties, hopefully not, know what those difficulties will be so that you can plan in advance. So don't be surprised by trips, and try to get your documents ready early. Make sure your passport's not about to expire. If you need a visa, plan ahead for your visa for travel. Tip number 8, try to get the front seat in the plane if you have such flexibility of choosing your seat, especially if you're in a hurry when you land, you have to get to the office or you have to get to the customer site. This will help when you have to pass through border control, because then you're closer to the front of the line and you have less of a waiting time. I found this useful for me when I travel, to always try to get a seat in the front or as close to the front of the plane as possible. Tip number 9, follow the hours. This means trying to avoid or minimize jet lag. So let's say you're traveling from London to Las Vegas. It's at least an 8-hour time difference. This can be a lot to adjust to immediately, but try to sleep when they sleep in Vegas, wake up when they wake up in Vegas. And the sooner you try to get yourself in sync with the hours where you land, the less jet lag you'll feel. So don't try to it's easy to not sleep because okay, it's 9 o'clock in London now, and it's not time for me to sleep yet. But try to follow the hours of your destination of travel. And number 10, hang up your clothes as soon as you arrive at your hotel. This is especially useful if you don't enjoy ironing, you don't want to faff around with an iron. You've ironed your shirts beforehand, you folded them in a nice, practical way in your suitcase. As soon as you land at that hotel, hang up your shirts, hang up your jackets, just in order to avoid having to iron, and also having to, this helps you to save time in the morning. So I probably have a lot more tips that I could share, but I wanted to limit this to 10. Thank you. Bye.